I want to talk about being addicted to debating on TikTok and how unhealthy that is.
No.
So I think it's both. I think like arguing about things when you are unsure of things yourself, I think is a really natural and healthy way to do it. The problem is that like things like TikTok engagement kind of rewards just like the worst version of that. And so, but then you get addicted as someone who's like, oh, I want to talk about whether free will exists and like how I think like first principle connects to these things. And then you end up like in a really bad place mentally. So anyways, that is something that I have been struggling with over the last like 3 weeks, maybe.
It's a cold open only relatable to Dempsey.
I think you just really like the drama.
I think that's a big part of it. Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Anyways, okay, so that's our cold open. Hi, this is Dempsey. Welcome to Overthinking Games, a podcast about what video games can teach us. Today's a very special episode. We have two guests. Ran, do you want to introduce yourself first and kind of tell people about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Ran. I go by ranran.words on TikTok and Instagram. I started this club on Discord called Pixels and Prose, where basically a gaming book club on Discord where we analyze narrative-driven games through a literary lens.
Yeah, and so every month, the community picks a new book to talk about. So what's this month's? A new game. Yeah, a new game. So what's this month's game?
This month we will be playing Final Fantasy VII, and I'm purposely not going to tell you which one right now because I am very scared of the opinions. But I would like people to be able to choose their own adventure still, and I think that'll be okay.
How many Final Fantasy VIIs are there?
There's a remake.
Yes.
There's the original and the remake.
Oh.
There's the remake and then the remake part 2.
Yeah, there's a lot. So all of Rand's information will be in the Discord. If you like this podcast, I think you would like that Discord. And then we have Brett. Brett has been here before. Brett, do you want to say hi?
Hi, I'm Brett.
Okay, so
I sometimes run a podcast called Lord to Death where I talk about video game lore as if it's kind of real history. It's
very good. It's very well researched. If there's a lot of properties that you would like, I think Seth was a guest on the Elden Ring episode, correct?
Yes, was in a 2-parter on Elden Ring.
We talked a lot about Elden Ring,
specifically the DLC.
A lot about Elden Ring.
Right, yeah. Shadow of the Erd Tree, the DLC.
Yeah, there was a lot to talk about, to be fair.
Yeah. So, and then Seth, do you want to say hi too?
Hi, I'm Seth. I don't have any special qualities.
Yeah, Seth is here usually.
Yeah, I am usually here. It was the first day of school. That was cool.
That's cool. Seth already hates his students. So today is the Expedition 33 episode. That we have been trying to have. We can talk full spoilers. So if you have not played Expedition 33, you are welcome to listen to what we've been playing this week, which we'll do. But I really encourage you, if you have not listened, or if you have not already played Expedition 33, please do not listen to, because we're going to kind of spoil things immediately. And it's really hard to talk about what this game is saying, because there's layers of spoilers, which I think is one of the really fun elements of this game, is like, there's like layers of plot twists. But we're going to start with what we've been playing this week. I'm going to go first. I have been playing... So, I've been playing some porn games because we're getting ready for...
Okay.
Hold on. No, we're getting ready for
this
episode 69, which is going to be about video games and sex and relationships, because obviously a lot of games have sex and relationships. And so I wanted to play some games that were just like made for sex, and so I've played Honey Pop, which is like a match 3 game, and it's a really, like, it's not as good as other match 3 games. Like I think Grindstone is a better game, is a better match 3 game, and I think Candy Crush is as well. But I have a lot more to say about that, I guess, during that episode. I've been playing, and Katie's not here to talk about it, but I've been playing Hellblade: Senua's Saga. And that game is unbelievably beautiful. Like,
it is.
Wildly. that game is like having a stroke and sleep paralysis constantly at the same time. That's what that game feels like. I've never been impacted sensorially so much by a game before. So if you haven't played Hellblade, you play as a ancient Viking Norse woman who has schizophrenia before we had any idea of what mental health things were. And so she's having these hallucinations constantly, and like audio is the audio design is incredible, like nothing I've ever experienced before. But also like just like what's on screen, there's no UI, which I think is very beautiful. So like there's no UI. The combat is some of the worst, most clunky combat I've ever played in the game, but I think it works. You feel sluggish and like you can't do exactly what you want to do, and like how you get away from the enemies feels like you're in a dream trying to get away from people. So I like that. But like when she has these visions, they just do such a good job of using, I would say, elements that they borrow from filmmaking, bringing them into Hellblade and making things feel really surreal and uncomfortable. I cannot play for more than an hour at a time because of how much of a toll that game takes on playing it. I played
it is a really cinematic game, though. It is really beautiful.
Yes, it's crazy beautiful. I played Sword of the Sea, which is made by Giant Squid, Giant Squid. The lead of Giant Squid was the art director on Journey and Flower at that game company, and then they made The Pathless, Abzu, and now Sword of the Sea. And Sword of the Sea takes a lot of inspiration from Journey. Again, it's made by the same art director as Journey. It's not as good as Journey. Imagine if Journey was Tony Hawk. That's Sword of the Sea. So you ride a big sword as if it is a skateboard. Like that is literally that is the conceit of the game. And that you like the desert, everything moves. The floor is always constantly in motion. So like the sand dunes will kind of rise and fall like wave crests and things like that. I think the sound design is distractingly minimalistic, as in like something big will happen, but there's not sound. I don't know. I just feel like it's not as good as Journey. But if you like Tony Hawk and skateboarding games, this is one of like the most cool skateboarding games, I guess. And then
the most wild thing I've heard this week.
it's if you have PlayStation Plus, it's free. So there's that. And then I've been playing Date Everything, because again, episode 69, an episode I'm very excited for. We're going to talk about sex and relationships in video games. And Date Everything is a game where you have glasses that bring inanimate objects in your house to life. So like you can date your toaster. And there's 100 different ones. The voice actors themselves play a really so like when you go to your inventory to see all of your dateable people, like the voice actors are credited right there in game, and like their personalities are kind of a big part of what makes the game good. It's so far, it's not like it's not like Doki Doki Literature Club, where it's like, you know, like a subversion of these genre things, or like it's good because it's saying something deep or whatever. So far, it's just like actually just genuinely a dating simulator that's really fun and very silly. And I think the writing is very special. I think the way you interact with things is fun and satisfying. But I do think you have to kind of go in liking romantic drama, like Doki Doki Literature Club, for example, or something like that. You don't have to like the romantic genre in order to get something out of that. For Date Everything, I do think you have to kind of enjoy the concept of dating simulators in order to really get anything out of this game. But if you even have a passing interest in dating simulators, I think this is kind of like the best version of one. So Date Everything, the art style is really fun. I think the music is really fantastic. Everything about it is really enjoyable. And it has a lot to say about like who we're attracted to, why we're attracted to people, what dating means, why dating is complicated. It would be a really good double feature with Materialist, which is a Celine Song movie that came out where Dakota Johnson has to choose between Pedro Pascal and Chris Evans. Anyways, if you like chick flicks, this is an incredible game for you. Anyways, okay, so I've been talking forever. Ran, what have you been playing this week?
The Materialist is not a chick flick.
I agree.
Welcome to a hot take.
I agree with that. Yes,
it is.
I completely yes.
A very realistic horror film for women. I just want to put that out there. What am I playing this week? Since I finished Expedition 33, and I do feel like I'm kind of mad at the game right now because I finished the Clea fight, and I have a lot of thoughts. But I really miss blacksmithing and collecting herbs and potions, making potions in KCD2. So I tried to pick that one back up yesterday, but I forgot that I dropped it during the big fight at the end. And there's a part where I don't know if you guys played it before.
What is KCD2?
Oh, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Oh, I've only played the first one.
Oh, yeah,
Is
yeah.
it good?
It's so good, but it's really long.
Sure.
But I stopped playing it during this really difficult area where you have to stealth kill a bunch of people, and I think I fucked up the quest before. Instead of 3 people, I'm killing 18. And I just couldn't remember how to pull out my sword, and I think I might have to anyway. I think I'm done with that game. I think I just wait until Final Fantasy VII.
Do you like the obtuseness of that game? Is that something that you really enjoyed? I remember trying to learn how to fight in the first one, and you have to pick the points, and it's all obtuse, and it feels bad. Was that your experience?
It felt bad initially because I also wasn't used to first-person games, but I loved it immensely. It is so fun. So you should play it. It's so good. Just don't do everything the way I did, and I got burnt out.
Okay. Okay. Brett, what have you been playing this week?
On the note of Kingdom Come Deliverance, I actually only just finished the first one maybe a couple months ago, because I put it down for 3 years, which was a bad idea, and I picked it up a quarter of the way to the end, and it was really hard to pick back up because I was in the middle of a kind of boss fight, and I forgot how to play, so I had to spend an hour relearning how to play the game. It was really bad. But I've been playing mostly Night Rain. I've been kind of grinding that out and grinding out all the the Everdark bosses week to week. So basically, in Night Rain, it's kind of just Elden Ring boss rush mode for people who haven't played it. And they put out versions of bosses called Everdark bosses, and they're basically just harder versions of the base game bosses. And I've just been trying to grind out all those because you get special rewards for beating those. And then I found a game this past weekend, and it's called Stonks 9800. And it is the most insane thing that I've played in a long time. It's set up like an Atari game, but it's set in 80s Japan, and you're a stockbroker basically. So you're a stock bro, and all you have to do is just watch stocks, invest in stocks, do all that. But then it's also kind of a dating sim, and also has a dozen mini games in it that you can just do. It's just oh, it's the weekend, do you want to go out and do something? Do you want to go to the bar? Do you want to go play a pachinko game? Do you want to go open a gachapon box? Do you want to play poker, golf? There's all these weird mini games inside it, and it's the most weirdly addicting thing that I've played maybe ever.
Do the mini games impact the main stock mechanic? If you get really good at the bar, do you get better at stocks or something like that?
there's the weird dating sim kind of element where you have to network basically, and you have to get friendship levels with people to be able to they'll tell you things about the stock market or give you insider tips, whatever. So going to the bar with people is really helpful. But then also there's some things that are just straight gambling. You can go to the racetrack and bet on horses, and or you can play pachinko. So today I spent about 750 million yen on pachinko balls, and then I made 12 billion yen. So it's if you want to grind it out, it's, the mini games are really great. Most of them will make you money. But yeah, that has been sucking my life away. And I think I need to. It is on Steam. It's in early access currently, so it kind of just came out a while ago. But I got it 4 days ago, and I already have 17 hours in it. So I don't know.
What was that called again?
Stonks 9800.
Okay. All right, Seth.
It is.
What have you been playing?
It's incredible.
I feel like versus everyone else, I've been playing like normal stuff. Or at least like relatively normal stuff. I think it was after last episode, Brett recommended to me Passant, the chess roguelike, which I have a little bit of commentary on. I played it for like an hour and a half.
I said it was janky, and it is so janky.
It is 100% janky. It is literally like a chess roguelike that's sort of Balatro inspired. Although I'll relay commentary I saw somebody else say, which is that Balatro is poker inspired. It is not playing poker. This game is playing chess with roguelite elements. And it is not just chess themed, which sounds like there's not much of a difference, except like after you get past like round 3, you just have like a full chessboard versus your opponent's full chessboard. And I'm not good at chess. So like it doesn't matter if you add roguelike elements to it. I'm still bad at chess. So,
but the big thing about that is that like, yeah, there are different pieces.
Yeah, so they have like fancy pieces. Like, I don't know, you can get like a bishop that can like move like a bishop, except it can also move like a king. And like it doesn't help the fact that like I'm bad at chess fundamentals.
You still need to be good at chess.
Yes.
That's so funny.
And I'm just bad at chess. Like
because I can't with Balatro, you don't need to be good at poker.
No, you don't really need to know anything about poker to play Balatro.
But to this game, you just need to know how. That's so funny.
And you need to be like good at chess. Like you will be better at this game like if you can set up like the multi-turn chess traps and you know like your chess tactics, which like I've done chess puzzles and tactics. I'm just bad at chess. There's no getting around it. So I'm bad at this game. So I played for like an hour and a half and I was like, this ain't working, dog. I can't do this anymore.
That's so funny.
Instead, I was like, I'm hitting up the Steam library and seeing what else I could find. I downloaded this game called Tower Tactics Liberation. It's a tower defense roguelike. Where each round of like the tower defense, it gives you like a new hand of cards that has like towers you can play and like spells you can play. Imagine like Slay the Spire, but it's a tower defense game. A+. I've been enjoying that. Much better roguelike experience. I don't have to be good at chess for that one.
It's very funny that you can just like tag roguelite onto things and Seth will play them.
100%. If it says roguelite, I will either like play it and be like, yeah, this is a good roguelite experience, or I'll play it and be like, this is not actually a roguelite. I'm annoyed. So those are like my two spectrums. I've actually also played a lot this week. I played a little bit of Marvel Rivals for the first time since like February because some kids from my church wanted to play. Game still sucks. Has nothing to do with the fact that I'm like hard stuck bronze. I've been playing The Sims with my girlfriend, which is like weirdly addicting in short bursts. Because she's been playing a lot of Sims and she's not like a gamer. But I was like, oh, you know what? I'll build like a house and put like a little couple in there. And I spent like an entire evening just like, oh, like let me build them a nice little house. And oh, I want it to look cool. So like they're going to have a couple different rooms and one of them's a musician and the other one's like an office worker. And I made them like a little hallway and I put up like art and everything. And I was like, wow, this is fun. It's like for like a normie game, I guess. Like, I get it. No commentary on The Sims. Again, it's a ton of fun.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm talking down.
Steph calling Sims a normie game is going to be its own topic episode because I have a lot of feelings about that. But a game that is neither a normie game or a roguelite, Expedition 33, which is a topic. So I want us to kind of go around and just give initial impressions, like how much we connect with the game, how important we feel like the game impacted us. Because I feel like this game has a lot of impact, both like how you see video games and also just how you see stories in general. And so Rand, do you want to start us off with like what this experience was like and like how you connected with it or where it lost you?
Yeah. How do I feel about Expedition 33? It's actually, I think, the first, besides like my brief Persona 5 playthrough, which I have not completed yet, it's the first true turn-based game I think I've played since Pokemon as like a child. I thought it was beautiful. It was like the story. I didn't know what it was about at all. I just knew that there's like a big 33 in the game, and I'm 33 years old and was going through a little bit of an existential spiral when I picked it up, and thought it would answer all my questions. It did not. It gave me all new questions. The 33, I don't think actually meant anything in the end. Just that age, right? I'm not sure if
it just happened to be the number. I guess.
I think the creator is potentially 33 now. I'm not sure if that was like planned, but anyway, I was looking for a little bit more meaning, but the game is packed full of meaning. So I was very, very into it. Is this like a spoiler? Are we spoiler?
Yeah,
yes, full spoilers.
We're spoiling now.
Full spoilers. I think. Oh, I don't want to do the first hot take. I want someone else to do the first hot take to see how far. See how far you guys
give my take on the game.
Okay.
I probably
Seth,
have like
what's your hot take?
The worst take. Not like worst, but I don't. So like I'll start up by saying I fully enjoyed Expedition 33. I thought it was like an interesting sort of JRPG take for someone who doesn't play a lot of like traditional JRPGs. Whereas I think like a lot of my experience is more casual ones like Pokemon or like Paper Mario, right? Like I don't have such as deep of a understanding of the genre, but like I just enjoyed it from the sort of like traditional RPG, like, oh, I get to level up stats of my characters and then there's fun moves to use. But like for me, the story was good. I mean, there was nothing that I like personally felt was like super meaningful for me. Even down to like the end of the game where you have to choose like, oh, which of these like 2 character endings that you want. I was like, I don't know. They both kind of have like good arguments, and I just kind of like picked one.
Wow. Interesting.
I don't know what about it was like. Maybe it's because I just didn't like super understand where the story was coming from. I don't think it's like super obfuscated. It's not super unclear like what's happening in the game. Like I think it plays a lot of its cards like on its sleeve. Like you can sort of figure out what's happening. They try and like mask it a little bit. There's this whole like French thing going on, and like I enjoyed the plot twists. Like losing your character, like losing Verso at the end of Act 1 was cool, but I was like, dang, he's dead. That's wild. I was impressed that a game could just like, oh, like we're offing the main character and just gonna like pitch you a new guy. I was like, that's cool, I guess. I'm blanking on like the later plot twists, but I also
you're blanking on the later plot twists.
The whole point, the fact that the whole game was fictional in the world of the game.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, like.
Oh my god!
Sure,
okay,
it's making like
Seth played like 10 minutes of Outer Wilds and was like, "Oh, I'm not looking for meaning in my life. I don't need to play this game."
Nah, I mean,
that is
I'm
Seth's
good.
Relationship to video games.
Let me continue defending myself a little bit. Okay, in the whole idea that like, okay, because you're right, it is a sort of like it's all a dream, whatever. It's all fictional in the painting. It's like, but it's sort of playing around with this like meta idea about like, okay, does it actually matter if everything is fictional? Like the relationships you've made are still important, which again is something that like Dempsey cares a lot about. But like, okay, this is where I'm hitting my hot take. It's like when we played Detroit Become Human, and I was like, the guy's a robot, he shouldn't get to experience any feelings. I sort of feel the same way about this game. I'm like, they're characters in a painting. I don't really get, they're not real. Like, they're not real people.
I do agree with you that they're not real.
They're not real.
I've argued with people on Reddit about that ad nauseum.
And I think that's what one of the endings is saying, right? Like, you have to sort of decide if you actually think does it matter whether or not these people are real or not? And I was like, I don't think they're real. I don't care. Like, they can go burn, I guess, because they're in a painting or something.
Okay, that was painful. Brett, how do you feel about this game?
I mean, like, hot take also, I mean, like, okay, I'll bring one hot take in the beginning, and then I'll bring another hot take at the end. My first hot take is that this game almost made me like the French. And then I remembered what the French did, and I don't like them anymore. But like, it's a redeeming factor. They're getting back there. I'm also like, I love turn-based games. Like, those are some of my favorite games. Like Persona 5 is one of my favorite games. I mean, just the Persona games in general. And then like Final Fantasy, like OG Final Fantasy games that were turn-based. Even the ones, even up to the ones that stopped kind of being turn-based. I love those. So I came into it as someone who loves turn-based games, like a lot. And so I knew I was going to like it, but I wasn't prepared for how emotionally invested I was going to get in the game. And that's kind of where it got me. Because like the gameplay loop for me is very addicting and it's very satisfying to just like, okay, I'm going to like optimize. And then eventually I'm just going to like one-shot everything. Okay, I'm going to try a new build and see this. Like, I like the experimenting with builds. I like, it was just very satisfying for me. And like you come across a boss that you can't do initially. Some people might turn away and do it later. I'm going to spend hours trying to beat that boss, even if I shouldn't. That's my own personal problem. And for me, it was just really great. I loved the narrative. I thought that the world that was built was really cool. I liked that it was like, fictional world versus non-fictional world. I liked that was brought in. And then I guess like, the second hot take is also that I agree that like the people inside the painting don't ultimately really matter, because the story is about the people outside of the painting and learning how to grieve properly without being extremely destructive to people around you, and just kind of learning to let go of things. That's kind of the message that I got from it. So my hot take is that the people in the painting don't matter, because it's all about the people outside the painting who are trying to learn how to deal with everything going on in their life that they've been clearly pushing to the backside with the paintings.
Sure.
But that's, yeah.
Rand, you look horrified.
So I think...
Dempsey, you don't get to talk.
So
yet.
I think... Rand, do you want to say... Do you want to say what's on your mind?
What? Oh, I want to say that I think you're both wrong.
Yeah, that's valid. That's valid.
Yeah,
I get it.
But I also think that my hot take is like going to catapult us into a different universe. I think that the Sandra family are the true villains here, because I think even it is impossible to argue that regardless if the people in the painting are quote unquote real or not, I think the definition of real for me is that they feel pain and terror and love and all these really true human emotions, to the point where that, like, what was it? The turtle guy got abandoned by Clea for centuries, essentially, in her time, and is just in like emotional agony forever. Like the cruelty of that. I don't think they should be allowed to do this. I think it is unethical what they are doing. This unchecked power that they have in society. I just think that is wrong, and I think that is the wrong take. I know this is the wrong take, and it's like totally not the point of the story, but I just can't get over that this is so unethical of the Desandra family to have
then,
this power.
Do you believe that, I guess, like, meta, do you believe that the writers, like, the writers are the ones who kind of, like, threw the Desandra family into chaos? Do you think that the writers are the good guys, or do we not know enough about them to know if they are the good guys or not?
I think we don't know enough about them, but I think, like, obviously in the real world, the Desandra family are, like billionaires, right? Like, so something is going wrong out there.
Yeah.
So I think that the content, in my opinion, this is the layer of meaning. I very famously do not talk about what things mean. I talk about what things mean to me. And so I think that the fact that this was made by people from Ubisoft, for me, gives it a different layer of meaning, because Ubisoft is known for kind of trying to get you to play their games for as long as possible. And doing things like putting cash shops in single player games. And so, like with Far Cry and things like that. And so I think that that this could be read as kind of a criticism of using the escapisms of video games specifically, because I think video games specifically kind of works as the best parallel to the painting, because of how animated the world is and how you can step inside of the world that you create. And so, like, regardless of if these beings feel pain or if they don't feel pain, making something, being a creator and making something with the intention of being so like exploitative, I think that is wrong. And so just like how when Ubisoft or EA make a game with the intention of being exploitative, that is wrong. And so I took it as a statement about using video games, encouraging this kind of like playing for as long as possible. Our relationship to video games, I saw it as a criticism of how like this fear of modern video games only being exploitative. And so whether the things inside the story can feel pain or not is not the point. The point is that you are making something specifically to be exploitative. And so in my reading of it, that's what the story was about. And so that's why I thought it was so beautiful, because the first half was like, hey, there is meaning in this. And in this art form, there is a way for you to process things that you might not be able to process in the real life. And then in the second act, it's like, and also there are very clear limitations to what you can accomplish here. And there's real dangers in taking this world and trying to force it to do things that it can't do. And I love that so much. I love the idea. I love like the fact that it's about itself, the fact that it's hostile towards its audience. I think like this game criticizing people who like video games, I think is a very fun thing for a video game to do. And I don't think any other art form fits what this game is saying, because like a movie, like if you create a movie, you can't step in and talk to the characters that you make. Whereas if you create a video game, you can do that. Like it's not a virtual world. The only place that a place like the painting can exist is video games. And so I think it was a very like struggling with the responsibility of a creator. So that's my hot take. I do think that it's unethical of what they did. I think that but I would say it's unethical for different reasons. I think it's unethical because they're making something to be exploitative. And for no other purpose.
Okay, so I have a question on that. So because my understanding of like the sort of part of the story is this is like Verso's painting that he
at one time,
right? Like Verso's not around anymore. He died in the fire,
sure.
Right? That's
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but like, yeah, because that's the idea, right? Is it's like a very literal, like he put his like heart and soul into the painting. But like he doesn't originally create that to be exploitive, right? It seemed to me that like he originally has this as a sort of like, why does he originally create his painting?
Well, it wasn't because he hated art, and it was just because his parents wanted him, like basically forced him to create something, and so he just created nonsense things like Esquier and Francois and like the gestrels. He just kind of like made these like nonsense things just to kind of appease his parents, I think.
But like,
I might be wrong on
that's not like naturally exploitive, right? Like it's sort of just being creative.
Yeah.
No, but in his version of the painting, people weren't dying at 33 and they didn't have all this anxiety and things like that. So his version of the painting would have been it didn't seem to have as much anxiety and pain as when the mom got a hold of it and the dad got a hold of it, and they started to try to pull, like, this painting is also how I want to restore my son back to life. And at that point, it seems like that's when like the exploitation started.
Yeah. So what is this exploitation? What is being exploited here, and by whom?
The mom's attention. The mom's attention is being exploited, and I think also Mael's attention is being exploited.
But isn't she's the one who like enters into the painting on her own, right?
Yes, but then she also wants to stay there even if it's unhealthy for her to stay there, which is what the ending. So Mael wants to stay in the painting regardless of if it's good for anybody.
But specifically wants to stay in the painting with Verso and keep Verso alive via the painting.
Yeah.
Is basically.
To not be like disfigured and in pain and, live like a better life. That is, which I think is actually probably her priority over the Verso piece. Because he didn't want it. And even if like, I know it's like his original intent was different, I viewed that, and I think my take is wrong, like, by the way. Like, I think my take about the exploitation of, like, the working class versus like what power these Dysandra family people have is not the right take. Though I have heard like the Final Fantasy gods comparison to that, but I think the little Verso without the face painting alone in that like purgatory land by himself is powering the painting, right?
Sure, yes.
And that he's getting exploited. He's in hell, literally.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah.
It's literally just a little boy being kept in purgatory because his family can't let him go because, you know, the mother is basically keeping the painting alive, and that's why Renoir went in to try to stop her, and that's why people ended up dying, because he wants to, you know, kill the painting to get his mother out of it because she needs to get out of her grief. But then, yeah, it's a whole... It's a big cycle of grief, kind of, and that's where I think it's interesting that you guys kind of got exploitation out of it, because my entire interpretation of it was just processing grief and different ways to process grief and kind of how to grieve healthily, I guess, by like accepting that things are gone and just letting them go. And that's why I think, like, personally for me, Verso's ending is the better ending. I mean, you can choose, you know, Verso, Mael, they're both, I guess, like, they're both bad endings, right? Like, there's no happy ending. But I think that Verso's is more fair because Verso is being kept there basically against his will. Like, his soul is powering the painting and no one else will just let him die. Everyone else is just so obsessed with keeping the memory of him alive. And that's why I think that his ending is the better one, because his ending, at least, it allows the painting to be destroyed and it allows everyone to accept that he's gone in this tragedy that happened with the family, and they can all healthily move on from that and with accepting that he's died, instead of just like clutching onto pearls about it, basically.
Did you feel disappointed by the fact that none of it seemed to be real? That like you achieve your goal, you defeat the paintress, and none of, like, did you get a sense of like none of that mattered, or like it wasn't like cheated out of, like, because I think one of the things that I think might make people feel that way is how much of a back seat the rest of the characters take, like Luna and CL. How do you say your names?
CL. Yeah.
CL. Yeah. Luna and CL. Like they really take a back seat when the end of the third act hits. Did you feel like cheated out of that emotional catharsis or anything like that?
I felt like it kind of, the understanding that nothing that happened in the painting was real per se, like whether or not you want to say that they all have their own personal experiences and that makes it real, I felt like it made me care less about everything that was in the painting, and it made me care less about the world overall, because it felt to me like the painting was just a prison that just like needed to be ended. Like, do I agree with Renoir's methods? No, I don't think that gamaging everyone was, necessarily the right move, but I do agree that the painting needed to be let go of. But the fact that none of it was real, quote unquote, did give me a disconnect, and it did make me care less about the people who weren't alive outside of the painting. So like CL and Luna, like I cared less about them once I realized that they weren't, I guess, quote unquote, real. And then it's like all that really mattered was Verso, Mael, Renoir, and what's the mother's name? Aline. And it's like, okay, now we need to focus on them and their grief and how they get through this, because no matter what, everything in the painting is fabricated.
I was going to say, I want to tack into that because I sort of have a supporting point to it where I mentioned this before, but it reminds me a lot of when we played Detroit Become Human, a game which, like, I don't need to totally go into, but it's a game where I really felt like playing these characters who are like androids. I felt a disconnect to the android character because I'm like, he's a robot, like, at the end of the day. I've also talked before, and Dempsey hates this take, but like I've talked before about Darkest Dungeon, a game where like in order to like really play Darkest Dungeon to the best ability, you have to really realize that these characters are just like pixels on a screen. And you will be better at Darkest Dungeon if you realize that like I have to send my pixels to their death. And it sort of was how I felt about the characters, like once we got to the second act, where I'm like, oh, all of these are all just like characters in a painting. In sort of the same way that I might feel about, I don't know, this is a bit of a stretch take, but in the same way that I would feel about sort of like an AI, where I'm like,
that's exactly what I
even if an
equated it to.
AI is like acting like a person, at the end of the day, like it's still an AI. It's not a person. And part of it is different, right? I feel like if you're playing a game that's not pulling the same trick, like if I play Elden Ring, which is not a great example, but like the NPCs in Elden Ring, like I care about them a little bit because it's sort of like understood that completely within the story that they are like real people who are alive in the world. And I understand the like, I don't know, the hypocrisy of the fact that like, okay, in this game, the painting is sort of the real world, but for the characters who live in it. But knowing that there's like an outside larger world that has people who are more or less like the real people at play just makes me be like, oh, these are now just characters in a story. In the same way that like my Darkest Dungeon characters are just characters in a game, they can't feel bad if I like send them to the slaughter. Much in the way that like, sure, like the characters in the game world have like feelings and experiences that matter sort of within the scope of the game world. But now like we've moved the meta narrative to like outside the scope of the game world, and I have like other problems I have to deal with than like the emotions of these fictional characters.
Rand,
that's pretty much where I'm at too.
I think that is a really sad take, because
it's
pessimistic.
It's a psychotic level take on this game.
I think the whole reason why I got into talking about games like this and like Pixels and Prose is because when we think about literature, and I was a big writer, the whole why we love literature and why it crosses different borders is because we all relate to these very human experiences. Obviously, the character in the book, Mr. Darcy, Jane Bennett, whatever, all of them, they are having their own experiences. They are not real, but they very much take from real experiences that all of us experience in some way. So I think like to boil it down to pixels on a screen, like I don't need to have feelings for Clea or for CL or these characters is really sad, because I think that's what connects us all together ultimately. Not to say that you are sad, but like
no, and like I don't know, and this is the trouble where like I run into the conflict, and my sort of internal conflict here is because if it was just like if we never got to the second act of the game, I would totally agree with you. I'd be 100% on the same page. But it's sort of like I'm reading a story about like another story. Like the characters in the book I'm reading are also reading a book, and they care really deeply about the characters in like the internal book. But like I can't go 2 layers deep.
Is that not the human experience though? Is that not you reading a book yourself and caring about those characters and then conflicting with other people?
It's like some sort of meta commentary, but like something about me loses the verisimilitude when it's like 2 layers deep. And
it's the
I don't know what that is.
Oh, what's that movie? Oh God, what's the We Gotta Go Deeper movie? The Dream movie.
Inception.
Inception. It's the Inception thing where it's too many layers of like I can only care about the top layer so much, and then every layer below that kind of my attention gets taken away from it because the top layer is the real layer. That's the one that really matters. So it's like that's yeah. I don't know.
Okay, so
it is sad. I agree, it's sad.
Yeah, I'm on the same page.
I'm on your side for several reasons.
Well, I was going to say that Brett, your take about it kind of moving away from the grief. I had the grief feeling after I first finished the game, got to the ending, but then I like stepped away because I was, so distraught. And when I came back to it just to like finish the final bosses afterwards, like go back and play those. When I beat Clea, like, I know that was like, I was like, so excited to beat Clea. Like, she's like this big bad in the world, but her scream of agony of like begging people to kill her is so messed up that it totally made me like, it colored my memory of the grief story about feeling bad about the Dysandra family and the journey they had to go on. and made me just think that these are like these are crazy gods. Like, should not have this power. Yeah. So I think like if that didn't happen, I would be right there with you, Brett.
So I think.
Oh, go ahead,
Brett.
Dempsey. Oh no, I was gonna get away from the game for us. Like I was gonna talk about beyond the game. So go ahead if you have comments about the game.
Well, hold on. Sorry.
Well, okay.
Not to interrupt, but I do have to get going.
Okay.
Sorry, I know this is like such a crappy time to leave because I'm like really invested in this. But I've had, secondary plans.
No, you're fine. Bye, Seth.
So
bye,
everybody.
Seth.
Ren, it's been fantastic meeting you. I wish we could chat more. Your take is vastly more valid than mine. All right,
for
Dempsey,
those who
I'll
come
send this
after
over.
or whatever.
See you later.
Okay, so I want to say I agree with Rand, because I think you can step outside and like, so this is something that Undertale, right? Have you played Undertale? Have you both played Undertale?
I've played a bit of Undertale. I know the story of Undertale. I just haven't personally played it much.
Okay, so Undertale posits a very interesting idea of what do we owe to fictional characters? And I think, and at first, and I wish Seth left, because Seth would say nothing. I know that Seth, but I think that there is an argument that there are things that we owe to fictional characters. I think that on several levels. On first, the levels of fictional characters being communicative elements of human experiences, and us connecting with those characters is connecting to the creators of the game. And so me caring about the characters is not just me caring about these fictional characters, but it's me caring about the real experiences of the people who made the game. So like, so it's like me, I consider art a way to connect with people. And so when I watch a movie, I am connecting with the actor's performance and how they decided to communicate these ideas of anger or whatever they're acting. And like, let's take Materialist, right? I love Materialist because Celine's song and me seem to have similar anxieties about love. Like we seem to really care about the same ideas. And so when she expresses those through the writing and things like that, I think if I value human connection, if I value connecting with other people through art, I am obligated in some way to care about those characters and to treat them with dignity in order to respect the communication that I have engaged in with the director. So I think, and I think there's some element of that in this game where the characters like Gustav did have value. Like Gustav was Maëlle trying to come to grips with the loss of her brother, and I think Gustav was valuable. It's just that that value has limits. But so in that way, I also think the second, and these are more like just random philosophical takes, and the second way in which I think we do owe fictional characters something is I think there is I think it says I think the morality of an action, there's an element of the morality of an action that is not within how it affects other people, but just in the fact that you are doing the action. And so, like, for example, if you, and this is because I've been spending too much time on TikTok, I'm so sorry. But if you, like, let's say that you cheat on your spouse and you don't tell them, and that's a less painful experience for them to be left in secret. So like how you affect them is more positively if they hypothetically never know. But the fact that you did it is what makes it unethical, regardless of the effect that it has on the other person. The fact that you are holding on to that information and that you did that thing is unethical. And so I think that how we act towards fictional characters can still be reflective of our own ethics if we are engaging with them seriously. And so if we give empathy to fictional characters, I think that says something about us. And that if we want to develop that empathy, giving that to fictional characters is a really safe, it's a really safe place to strengthen that muscle, in a way that doesn't benefit the characters per se, but I think it does benefit us. So that in the sense that like we should care about fictional characters, and an argument too, those are my arguments of why we should care about fictional characters, and why I think even though everything in the world was fake in the world of the game, I still think defeating the Paintress and Gustav dying is actually important. Like I still think those are really significant moments, even though it was all fake. because it does have meaning to Mael, and it does have meaning to the mom, and because it has meaning to those people, it even in the world of the game where everything was fake in the painting, I think it's still a really meaningful experience that happened. Anyways, so I'm so sorry. That's my rant about why I think the question of what do we owe to fictional characters is a worthwhile question. Okay,
I think it's interesting that you connect to the end point of, or I guess you at the end point connect to the beginning point of something, like in connecting to the actors or the people who are making the game, rather than myself, where I'm connecting strictly to the game because I view art as a form of escapism rather than connection. So I'm trying to escape everything that's in the world and the people who made it, whatever. Obviously I care about, there's a lot of voice actors that I really love and I will follow everything they do. But like when they're voicing a character, it's the character. So like I'm viewing it strictly as just like a piece of like, what is this game telling me about, I don't know, the game and basic concepts instead of just like the meta narrative or like the reasons behind it. Does that make sense? Like I'm connecting, I guess I connect to art through how the art is like speaking to me rather than the voices behind the art, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm articulating that very well at all, but I just think it's very interesting how differently people can connect to the same thing.
I wish Seth was here because he just talked about Sims. I was thinking about this in the context of Sims. If my Sims if I was playing Sims and it was all hunky-dory, but then one day, I don't know, my dad crashes into my Sims game and he's like, I want to murder all your Sims. And then my Sims are like running for their life and they're looking at me. They look me in the eye and tell me to kill them because their existence is worse than like, it's worse than death, right? It's worse than non-existence. Even if they're like fundamentally not human, I can't continue to play Sims. We shouldn't have the game Sims if that was the case, if that was true. Like, and I would argue anyone who played Baldur's Gate and did the dirt run, who like flinched whenever anything bad happened, like flinched when you kicked the squirrel. I know you feel the same. You would feel the same. You couldn't do it. You can't even be mean to a character in a video game. You think your Sims begging you to end their lives, you would continue to play?
I'm the weirdo who did the dirge run and thought it was like full evil dirge and thought it was fun within the context of the game because I don't think of the real world implications of it, and I think of it within the confines of this little box that the game has created for me.
No, because that's like you literally in the role of being evil genuinely.
But it's not me, it's the character. And so I can justify the character's evil choices by saying this is what the character would do. Therefore, I am okay with kicking the squirrel and having it explode against a tree because that's what the game is presenting to me as the option for, like, I guess, like the canon of what this character is. Do I agree with it? Ethically, like, do I think it poses an ethical dilemma? Yes. Do I think it's wrong? Yes. But I think it's right in the context, like in that specific context. I think it makes sense, and I'm okay doing it with the context, I guess.
But then what if it's Sims?
I try not to get too invested in Sims because it will consume my life.
Imagine if your Sims asked you that question, because a lot of characters in Exhibition 33 asked that question. They're like, please, all the Nevrons, they went on and on. I've taken this too far in a different direction, Dempsey. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. This is good.
I'm like, how can we talk about capitalism somehow? Like, how can we... would both of you be okay with that? It's okay if you are, obviously.
In the context of Sims, I always make Sims after my friend groups and family. So I will have like my own family inside a house. So if they were kicking and screaming and asking me to kill them, I would immediately gain a little bit of trauma and uninstall the game because it's just a little too much. Which is
literally the painting, is it not?
Yeah. Yeah, but at least I can disconnect because I'm not the one doing all the terrible things in the paint. Like, you know what I mean? Sure. Like, I'm not responsible for that. It's the Desange family who I can put my trauma onto. And
I think I would be okay with torturing my Sims even if they wanted me to kill them. I think because because, right, I don't think we need to be kind to fictional characters. I just think they matter. But if the thing, like, let's say that someone wants to talk about the experience of wanting to die, right? Let's say that's the vision of the creator, that they made this character who pleads for their life and wants to die even though you never let them die. And that's what the creator is like, when they coded it, when they animated that, when they voice acted that, that's what the creator was exploring, right? So I think I do think I should, if I want to interact, if I want to come into that interaction, valuing the human connection between me and the creator, I do think I have to take that seriously, and I do think it matters. I do not think you have to be kind to fictional characters, though. And so in like an evil Baldur's Gate run, for example, I think the people at Larian Studios and the writers and things like that, they want to explore like the moral impacts of like the super evil in a fantasy setting, right? And I want to engage with them in that conversation. And so for me, I'm not doing the moral act that I am doing is engaging in conversation, not in kicking the squirrel. Kicking the squirrel is not a moral act, but me engaging in the conversation is a moral act. So I would be okay with torturing my Sims even if they beg for mercy and death.
One more question. Okay, Baldur's Gate, evil run. Both of you are doing your individual runs. Okay.
Okay.
I'm trying to guess who you guys might have romanced, but I guess it's like Shadowheart or Astarion. They turn to you. They're like, please stop playing this game. please end it. Gale is Gale is saying, I can't blow up anymore. This is like too traumatic. You're making me relive this moment over and over and over and over again. I'm watching everyone die. Please kill me. Would you continue to play?
I would either find a mod that uninstalls that character, or I would probably kill that character in game, stuff them in a box so I don't have to hear about them talk to me like that, because I don't want to hear it.
Y'all are such nice people. I do not believe you.
Have you should really play Undertale, because the hypothetical that you give me is literally the theme of Undertale.
I don't know if it's going to send me on like a little spiral though.
Like
but it's so cute because it's like little 8-bit art. Like you can't be too upset about it because it's just too cute.
Yeah,
and the soundtrack is too good.
Yeah, the soundtrack is very good. But it's literally like, so I'm not going to spoil the game for you, but it asks very similar questions to what you're asking. So do you think, like, do you never play evil or make an immoral choice in a game? Do you feel like?
Oh, of course. I've done the take the ladder out of the pool thing in Sims, of course. But then none of them have turned to me and begged me for oblivion.
So that's the difference then, is that they haven't turned to you and expressed their displeasure, which is like why I think in Baldur's Gate, it's like, I'm okay doing the evil run because, like Dempsey said, it's like connecting with the creator's idea. Like they made this thing to be experienced, so I'm going to experience it because they wanted me to. So I can kind of like bypass the like ethical or like moral dilemmas presented in the game. Even if I wouldn't do these things as a person, but I will do them in the game to explore the game in its entirety because I want to see everything that a game has to offer. So it's like, yeah, I don't know.
But I'm really trying to put like the framework on that, like, this is your painting that you've just stepped into, that your parents have ripped apart, and your Baldur's Gate companions have gained consciousness. And are deeply...
I uninstall the game because it's too much. I don't want to have to think about it. I'm escaping from this stuff, not trying to engage in it.
That's what I mean. Like, Dirge Run knowing that they are, like, in hell.
So, Ran, I think you said you won't answer this question, but I'm going to ask you again. Because it matters. But so for Final Fantasy VII, or I guess I won't ask you a question. I'll just say, for Final Fantasy VII, I feel like Expedition 33 pulls a lot from the original Final Fantasy VII. And so I think if you play the original, which I don't know if you did or not, but if you do, I think it will really change your perspective on Expedition 33 because you kind of get a sense of what the tradition, like the overworld map, for example. I just feel like there's a lot of elements from Final Fantasy VII specifically that Expedition 33 kind of borrows from.
100%. It's all my favorite elements of Final Fantasy VII, or like just Final Fantasies, and like the Persona series. The combat's very Persona while being very Final Fantasy, but yeah, 100% I agree with you, Dempsey. It's like Final Fantasy VII is like the template for this game, basically.
Yeah. Well, so I think we did it. We made a podcast. I'm going to give everyone a chance to to say their final closing statements, and then I'll close this out. So my closing statement is that if you liked this game, I think you should play Undertale, because Undertale, in my opinion, asks a lot of similar questions. Ran?
My take is, I think regardless of how I feel about the ethics of the Sandra family's power, I think Sandfall is an incredible studio, and I'm so excited for what they do next. I think this is a beautiful, incredible video game that is definitely a work of art, obviously, since we are able to reflect on it.
Yep, I 100% agree. I'm really excited to see they've announced that it's a franchise. Like Clair Obscur is a franchise, and they're going to be doing different things within this world. I hope that we get more than games from it. Personally, I would love to see comics in this world. I would love like short novels. I would love, even if they did a show, great. I really want books and comics from this world. I think that would be fantastic. If I have one ask from Sandfall, please pair with like Dark Horse Comics, or like someone make a comic from this series. It'd be amazing. That's,
as someone who hosted a podcast called Lord to Death, that's a very lore to death answer.
Yeah, I just need more lore. That's it. I'm lore hungry.
An SPA plush, I think.
Yes. Oh, yes. 100%.
And then
give me the SPA
where can
plush.
people find you, Ran? Do you want to plug yourself once more?
Yeah, sure. I'm on TikTok and trying to do more on Instagram, but it's just ranran.words. And then you can get the link to our Discord. I think we're probably at roughly almost 500 people now. And we're starting our first read on September 1st, Final Fantasy.
Cool. Awesome. And with that, listeners, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any opinions and want to share them, emails in the show notes. All the relevant links are in the show notes. Thanks so much. Catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, great. Fantastic.